Hello and welcome to Surveyor Says, the podcast from the National Society of Professional Surveyors. Each week, we bring you fascinating guests that are involved in the profession of surveying. We cover a lot of ground, including Table A Talk with Gary Kent, Point of Order with the NSPS Joint Government Affairs Team, Future Focus, highlighting current and future leaders of the profession, and everything survey-related in between. Thanks for joining us here on the podcast, and hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of Surveyor Says. Hello and welcome to Surveyor Says, the podcast from the NSPS. My name is Tim Burch. I'm president-elect of NSPS, and my guest today is a very distinguished guest, and I say that because she's a former director from the great state of Wisconsin for NSPS, and just an all-around good person as well, and I at least get to see her smile on the other end. That's good. I'd like to welcome Emily Pierce. She has recently taken a job with one of our sustaining members, Berntsen International. We'll get to talk about a few of the things Berntsen's going on, but I guess first and foremost, Emily, you and I have known each other for quite a while, but I don't know that I know your story of how you got into surveying.
Well, that's a great question. It's kind of a funny start, actually, and I say that because there's probably a lot of surveyors that have an interesting start to surveying too. So ultimately, it came down to that was the only course at the local tech college that was offered in geography. And I say that because so I started after high school. I started college at a local university, four-year university, and I was majoring of all things in music. But you have to take your general ed courses. You have to, do all the fun extracurriculars and stuff like that. And I got into a geography class that I really, really liked. And I realized early on that music, although I love music and it's near and dear to my heart, was not the path that I was going to follow. And I ended up quitting school and moving back home and kind of just reinterpreting my life a little bit. And I kept circling back to that geography class and circling back to how much I enjoyed it. I remember as a little girl doing road trips with the family and studying the maps, studying the road maps as we were going along the way. And I remember explaining to my mom, oh yeah, the next wayside is in 15 miles, or the next exit is in 24 miles. And I remember how much I enjoyed that, and I remembered how much I enjoyed the geography class. And so I started looking at going back to school and what was available for me nearby. And that was the only course that was, or the only program that was available at our closest tech school. So I said, well, I'll try it. I was absolutely naive. I was absolutely the poster child of, oh yeah, those are those guys on the side of the highway taking pictures. That was me. And so I learned really quick that that's not what was happening, but I certainly fell in love with it and enjoyed just the journey that I've been on that surveying has given me. So.
Well, and what a journey it has been so far. And I guess we're knowing a little bit of your background and where you started in early surveying. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into being a county surveyor?
Well, my first job out of college, well, my first job as I was in college was not the best situation. I worked for a private individual, and I realized early on that this was not where I wanted to be, and so I was looking for a new job, and there was a tech position that was open at a county that was just a county away from me. It's not too far, and so I applied for it and eventually got the position. So I got hired on as the survey tech, working under the county surveyor. And then during that time frame was when I went through and got my license, and I worked under the county surveyor for about 7 years before he retired. And when he retired, I stepped into his position.
Very
So I
nice.
served as county surveyor for 5 years before entering into the private
The private
side
world.
of surveying. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that kind of leads me into another question for you. You having been on the public and the private side of surveying, unfortunately, all of the buzz lately has been diversity, and we've got to become more diverse in a lot of fields. And this, and surveying obviously is one that's been uh, predominantly males for forever. Um, but here along comes Emily Pierce. She jumps into the surveying world. Uh, I guess from working in both sectors, public and private, how's that been in your experience? And what it's going to maybe sound like a strange question, but how does being a female surveyor give you an advantage over us guys?
I'm not sure if it gives us an advantage or not, but I can tell you a little bit about how I kind of, came to where I am now. So um, when I decided to go back to school, and when I decided to enter into the surveying field, um, initially there was some backlash. I had one person in particular who was very adamant that he didn't feel that I could make it, that I wasn't physically strong enough. He had a laundry list of things that would uh, challenge me along the way. And not to say that he was wrong, but it added fuel to the fire a little bit. So to me, it was the motivation that I needed to show him that that I could make it, and that I could be successful, and I could handle it physically, and I could handle it mentally. Um, it was the fuel I needed to get me through college, graduating with a 4.0. Um, and it was also the fuel that helped me understand that maybe I did need to work a little bit harder. Maybe I did need to be kind of a super minority, in the sense that, okay, because I'm the super minority, I'm going to need to work that much harder to make it, to be successful, and to be involved also with my organization, with the state organization, with the national organization, and have a voice.
Sure. Well, the reason I ask you about coming at it from a different perspective as a female, I got to be honest with you. I've got four females in my office, two licensed land surveyors, an SIT, and a survey tech, and their answer to me often is that I don't know. That's just the way I'm looking at things. But whenever I come across a problem with a survey, I usually go to them first because and I don't know if it's the left brain, right brain, Mars and Venus thing, but there's often a lot of times that for whatever it is, biological or whatever, the female perspective that gives me a different view on a survey and solving a boundary issue sometimes. And I guess that's been my perspective. But to ask them as well, they're like, it's just the way I look at it. So not really any different necessary perspective, but just the way that it goes. So I was curious if you had any of those instances as well. But
Well, I think to kind of stem a little bit off of that, I think it's an understanding that we've experienced life differently. And anybody who comes from a minority has experienced life differently. And so we have different experiences and different history that we can and do use today to make decisions. So getting a different perspective, I think, is always wonderful. You may not always agree with it, but it's certainly another point that you should at least consider. And that's why I think diversity is important in the surveying profession and in all professions in life in general. So
That's exactly it. And I guess one of my favorite sayings now, as of late, just talking to different people from different walks of life, is trying to view the world and your profession through different lenses, and that
mhm.
I get up every day and know what I know, that I can't expect to get up and know what you know, but to listen to what you know, and how to and actually listen to what somebody says, and learn to respect it, is a big deal. And I think surveying could use a little bit of that, a lot of bit of that. So no, that's good. I appreciate your honesty in that respect. Um,
Sure.
and I guess that then leads me into uh, going into your interest in the association stuff, especially at the state and the national level. What motivated you to get involved, basically extracurricular within your profession?
Well, I, so I've had two major mentors in my life, in my profession. And the first one was Chet Novacek. He was the county surveyor that I worked under for 7 years. He helped me kind of in the infancy of my career to understand that I did need to get involved. You know, he always pushed me to get involved. And even if it was small, it could still make an impact. So, you know, I started getting involved at the local chapter in our area of surveyors. And then I eventually got onto a committee. And so through that work and just always having his voice in the back of my head saying, you know, get involved, do something, you know, so that helped start me, you know, with getting involved. The other mentor that I have, and this is probably a little bit more obvious, but it is Lisa Van Horn. And Lisa's always been behind me, also supporting me in saying that if you have something to say, if you have a voice, speak it. You know, if you have beliefs, stand behind them. And whether it be preaching it from a soapbox or standing in the back of the corner, say something. So they've made a big impact on my career, and so I had the luxury of also having time on my hands as well. So you know, I did have the time to invest. It does take time, and you know, in a volunteer organization, it sometimes takes a lot of time, but I think it's important when you do have an opinion, a strong opinion, to stand up and say something. So,
Oh, very good. Well, I don't have the pleasure of knowing the county surveyor, but I do know Miss Van Horn, and she is a dynamo, and that was a uh, good horse to hitch your wagon to on a lot of things, especially, and I know you accomplished a lot in your time with WSLS, and then in the couple of terms you spent as the director of Wisconsin. I know we still have repercussions of your involvement and what you pushed as far as workforce development, and basically showing what can get done when volunteers actually put their minds to it. So I'd like to thank you for that as well. Uh, all right. Well, I guess the next question I have then is, you're plugging along, you're Miss Surveyor, you're out doing surveys, you're out doing these things, and then all of a sudden Berntsen comes calling, that I hear. And how did you make the jump to Berntsen? Because I'll be honest with you, I am a huge fan of Berntsen and all of their work, all of their products. That's not, I mean, yes, they are a sustaining member of NSPS, but I've used their stuff for literally decades. Um, how did you get involved with them?
great question. So where to start? So I like you, have been a user of Berntsen products for many, many years, stemming back from my involvement at the county, and then in my private profession as well. Um, I I think Berntsen is doing amazing things with supporting the profession itself. not only their memberships and their sponsorships, but the amount that they're investing in the future of surveying in the sense of scholarships is amazing. And I love to see that taking place. I myself was a scholarship winner, not from Berntsen, but from the Wisconsin Society's Foundation a few years ago. I won't date myself here, but I remember what that meant to me at the time. I remember how much it helped me out to finish my schooling, and seeing that investment that they're making in the future of the surveying profession, I think is an amazing thing. On top of that, they've been in the process of launching their InfoMarker solution, which is kind of this, if you say futuristic, I don't know if it's really futuristic, but this idea of a smart marker and what a smart marker looks like. And they've been involved and now have nailed down integration with GIS with the Esri platform. So they're doing amazing things, and this is all coming out. This is all really new and really fresh, so it's exciting. I miss not actually surveying anymore. So that is the one thing that I miss, because I'm not doing that. I'm more on the business development side of things nowadays. But the company is great. The people there are wonderful. They focus on quality versus how many widgets can you get out in X amount of days kind of thing. So just overall, the company message and what they stand behind is something that I truly believe in and hits with my core values.
Very nice. Well, and I guess talking about monuments, and then I want to jump back just a little bit. You were involved in a very special project up in Marathon County. Was that?
Yep.
That was. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that project that you helped spearhead?
Well, I was involved with it very early on. Back when I was a technician in Marathon County, it came to our attention that the monument, the physical monument that was actually out there and in place, was more of a replication of the intersection of the 45th and 90th latitude longitude. And so we actually did some initial field work on it. We located the the current monument, located where it needed to be, found out that it was a great representation, but it was built where it was built because of convenience. It was on the side of the road. There was a little parking area there, but in reality, the actual physical location was about 1,000 feet into this cornfield. And at the time when I was involved, it was just not feasible to put it in its correct location without really digging down deep and not being able to get people there and see it. So I was involved early on. Later on, after I went into the private side, the county surveyor that came in after me really did a major outreach campaign with figuring out how can we make this happen. So he got the landowner involved, he got the parks department involved, he got some other community outreach involved, and they found funding and all sorts of different things to basically make this beautiful, beautiful trail that leads right up to the correct location of the monument. Berntsen actually was involved at that point then too. They
Right.
were the ones that made the monument itself. And now it's a beautiful park-like experience where you can go and visit, where that physically is. There's only 4 places in the world where this actually takes place, and 2 of them are in the middle of an ocean.
Right.
And the other one, the third one, is on some mountain range somewhere that's not really easily accessible. So I was pretty excited that this was so close by. and that we could successfully be able to build this.
Well, I think it's really cool. It's, it's not, it's going back to what you said, growing up, the love of geography and map making, map and following maps. For some youngsters that are doing that, I mean, it's a neat kind of thing. It's not just a roadside world's largest ball of string. It's a geographical, like you said, one of four that really the only one you can get to. It's kind of neat, especially now in this age of GPS, GNSS, and geolocations. It's kind of a cool thing, and uh, I'm glad you got this thing originally started, and I'm glad they came to fruition and got it done. And once again, yeah, Berntsen was there to really help make this thing good. So we know Berntsen with their monuments and various markers. What is new at Berntsen? You talk about the RFID stuff and the smart marker stuff. What else is going on? I know you just got back from being involved in Esri at the user conference. What's going on at Berntsen?
So to talk a little bit more about our InfraMarker solution. So we have incorporated radio frequency identification into our smart markers. We have a line of markers that are for underground, as well as those for surface. They work well specifically for asset management. So anybody who's doing inspections on catch basins or manhole covers or hydrants, it works great for underground pipelines, fiber optics, that sort of thing. And we have a standalone software solution that goes along with it. So when you scan the tag itself, there's a map that's incorporated into it. So you can use the map to walk directly up to that location. It's fully integrated with GIS. And then when you do perform the scan, it returns the asset information for that specific asset. You can fill in fields, do your inspections, move on to the next asset. The cool thing that's just happened real recently is we've been able to integrate specifically with ArcGIS. So we have a web widget that we've incorporated with coding and all sorts of stuff that is way beyond my comprehension, but it helps with building web applications specifically for this. So you have your database already in ArcGIS. You can take ArcGIS now out in the field with you. It is fully integrated with doing the scan and populating the information that you need. We do also have integration now with Survey 123, which is also another
Nice.
Esri tool. And we're currently working on Collector and their new field maps. So
Nice.
look for that coming out in the next few months. So lots of
Well,
exciting things.
what I like about it, and I'm starting to talk to more and more surveyors that are at least getting interested. The whole concept of the term digital twin, and a lot of you say that to a lot of surveyors, and they look at you like you're goofy. But now that we have the processing power and the storage capacity, it's all of this data that we're saving, basically replicating all of the improvements, all the properties, everything, and creating a digital model of everything that's out there. And I only see that these markers can only enhance by adding more than just a physical location of something. It's like you said, it's all this embedded data that goes along with it. And I assume that's part of what Berntsen has in mind in joining up with Esri with some of this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. The other side of it too that we've really focused on is not trying to disrupt current workflows. So, people already have their workflows in place. We don't want to disrupt that. We don't want to tell you, hey, here's this whole new product. Oh, but you got to do it all differently than you do it now.
Right.
We want you to be able to really take this and see the enhancements with being able to do faster field inspections, more accurate. Now you're right at the exact spot doing your inspection versus, guessing if you're supposed to be at that catch basin or that catch basin.
Right.
And being able to fully integrate it into their current database.
No, that's great. And I think as technology goes along, I think that's just, yeah, this type of system is really going to add to it and enhance. Um, it's really amazing to me that uh, we kid about surveyors being kind of stuck in their ways, and I really feel like we're really kind of on the edge of turning the corner into really embracing the technology. Um, with GPS, and hopefully we get Legato to go away to where we don't have that issue. But uh, there's just so much more that the surveyor can do, and it's not just go out and doing lot surveys. It's a lot of data collection, it's a lot of asset, basically recreation, and I only think that uh, what you're doing at Berntsen is really helping us enhance all of that.
Yeah, one thing we've looked at too is how to keep things as simple as possible. So we want to be able to provide you another tool in your toolbox, but we also want you to be able to use the tools that you already have as well. So this is fully integratable with, Android, iOS, Windows tablets. You already got your phone out in the field with you already. And also it can be Bluetooth as well to your GNSS receivers. So you can get good survey accurate locations on these points while you're out in the field. So really the only thing you need is the RFID reader, and that, we're exploring, how to best fit that in. But right now we've got a nice little trigger function that, you can hop right onto your tool belt, and or wrist readers, ankle readers, all sorts of different things, finger readers. So
Nice.
we're trying to keep the impact as minimal as we can on changes.
Well, and I can only say that as a fellow surveyor, I appreciate the knowledge that you're bringing to that market. And it's one thing to, like like we've said, that you can reinvent the wheel with something else, but the fact that uh, Berntsen has employed a real live surveyor to go out and actually know how to do this stuff, how it would be done typically, and make it work with marrying that technology with the old surveyors. I do appreciate that, so I'm glad to see them go that way.
That's
Um,
my role.
yeah, well, that's good. And
That's my role. Yep. I'm not your typical salesperson. I don't have a background in that. But that's my role, is to give real live feedback on what a surveyor, how a surveyor would go about things. We're looking in the future at what sort of other products we can integrate, what other products we might drop, those sorts of things. And those are on my plate in the sense that I get to be the one to figure out what's useful and what's not. So
very nice. Well, I have a couple of quick wrap-up questions for you. The the one big thing that I would like to ask is, I guess, looking back over your career now and all that you've experienced, which is pretty vast and quite varied, which is very nice. Uh, if you were going to give a piece of advice to either your high school self or uh, any young, it could be male or female high schooler that's looking towards the future and possibly looking at surveying, what piece of advice would you give them on pursuing it?
well, I think that it's a great profession that offers a ton of diversity, in the sense that you get to be an archaeologist one day, you get to be a uh, not an attorney in a sense, but you get to be able to review legal things. You get to be able to be involved in that process. You get to be able to understand, uh, you know, deeds and land descriptions. You get to play outside every once in a while. You also get to play with some really fun toys, and they're not toys. I mean, but they're fun.
Yes, they
You
are.
get
They're
to
toys.
be involved with the computer side of things. The data analysis. Um, it's so vast, and it's so um, widespread. All the different things you get to do. So if anybody is excited in doing something like that, this certain surveying is certainly a great field to get into.
Very nice. Trying to think, what's next for Emily? Where's the surveying and marker business going to take her next?
Oh, great question. I don't know. I think that things are really exciting right now. I get to try something new now. So this is different for me. It's been a learning curve. But as one of my strengths, I am a learner. I love to learn about new things. And so I'm excited for the future. I don't know what it's going to bring. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I don't know what I'm even having for dinner tonight. But yeah, I'm excited. The future looks bright.
Well, good. Well, good. Well, that's Miss Emily Pierce, Wisconsin surveyor. I'm not sure. Are you licensed in any other state than Wisconsin, or just Wisconsin for now?
Unfortunately, I'm not. But I am. I did go through the CFEB.
Oh, that's
program.
right. You are a
So
CFED.
that was exciting.
That kicks any other state licenses rear end. I've heard people that have gone through that, and obviously you have, and that's a very thorough test and test of your knowledge and a test to take. So that's very good. Well, this is, like I said, this is Miss Emily Pierce from Wisconsin, as we like to kid them up there, and now representing Berntsen and a lot of their stuff that's going on. One of our sustaining members here at NSPS. And a hell of a role model, Miss Emily. I gotta say that.
Thank you, Tim.
I've appreciated everything you've done from the day I met you, and it's been an honor to watch your career grow and continue to grow. So for those who need something out there from in the marker industry, she's your person. Let's reach out to Berntsen and get a hold of her and see what she can do for you. So. Any parting thoughts? Any last words of wisdom?
Well, I just want to say thanks to you. This has been really exciting, really fun, interesting. I've never done a podcast before, so this is exciting. But just to any surveyors that are out there, just get involved with your local communities. Tell people what you do. A lot of people don't understand what we do, and so tell people what you do. Share your experiences, share surveying. If it means going to a school, to a classroom and talking to some kids, career days are fun, but get out there, spread the word, tell people what we do, and that's only going to benefit us in the future.
You are wise beyond your years, Miss Emily. I appreciate that. So. All right. Well, you know what? Why don't we try to do this again down the road after you've got a few more days under your feet, and we'll see what other new things are down the line. So we'll do this again sometime.
I'd absolutely love it.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
You've been listening to the Surveyor Says podcast, brought to you by the National Society of Professional Surveyors. If you have any questions about today's episode or any other topic, please email us at info@nsps.us.com, and we are here to help. Visit our website, nsps.us.com, to learn more about our association, the programs we administer and support, our sustaining members, and information about future episodes of Surveyor Says. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, as well as our podcast host, Podbean. And remember, it's a great day to be a surveyor.